Welcome to how to deal with unsatisfied clients. I know it's an interesting topic that just came up. So, this is actually a free taster class of what we are doing in the Unlimited Money Club tomorrow. So, tomorrow we have a 3 hour class that which I am facilitating, which is called, the book is called Living Beyond Distraction. And this personally is one of those books that has kind of, I call it my savior, because it has given me so many different tools that actually I tend to use almost every day in my life. So you will get to know why it is so very soon during this presentation. And how this class came about is basically I read the book and then I asked myself, what is one of the best contributions of this particular book? And right now, especially in my life, I'm using it in a very different way. So, this is what came up for this particular week. Okay, so I have a beautiful presentation slide for you. So, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so how to deal with unsatisfied clients. To begin with, personally in my life, with my holistic healing business, I have dealt with at least a few handful of unsatisfied clients, especially in the beginning days. I guess there was a lot of them popping in my world. And nowadays it's like really low. I guess I have transformed as well. And unsatisfied clients are those beautiful people who actually contribute so much towards my personal growth. So that's how I have seen them in my life. But then dealing with unsatisfied clients is in and itself a kind of a huge challenge. So that's why we are going to go into this. So as I said, this particular class is coming from Living Beyond Distraction. It's a free taster class. I have just taken 2 to 3 pages from the Living Beyond Distraction book, and I have kind of put together this short presentation. This is going to be a quick 30-minute taster class. Okay, so let's get started. What is distraction? And then this particular book introduces to us about distractor implants. So this was the first time I ever saw this word, distractor implants, and I went like, what's that? Looks like there are 24 different distractor implants in our world, and that's what this book covers. So let's begin. When you find yourself in a situation that you don't seem to be able to change, you may be stuck in a distractor implant. Interesting. So, anytime I am stuck in a particular situation that which I'm not able to change, this can be my financial situation, or it can be my relationship, or it can be, let's say, my business. Talking about unsatisfied clients could be kind of a place where we get trapped. It feels like, oh, I trapped myself. It feels like I got stuck. What is this stuckness in my world, right? Okay, this client came up and she wanted to book a session with me. She paid the money and then she booked the session, and then I did the session. I felt the session was awesome. But then 2 days after the session, the client comes and tells me that, oh, it looks like the session that you did is not working. I did not get the results that which I expected. How can you fix it, or something of that nature? And usually it comes up with lots of, anger, guilt, shame, regret kind of fashion here. And I go like, wait, what? You're not satisfied with my session? Okay, what do I do now, right? Okay, so I'm just bringing those energies up. So I guess at least some of you watching this specifically would have gone through that situation. Okay, let's see what's the solution here. So the book is written by Gary and Dane, who are the founders of Access Consciousness. And this book is, of course, an Access Consciousness book. And then, according to Access Consciousness, there are these distractor implants. And then Gary here says that, okay, if you find yourself stuck in a specific situation, it means that there is a distractor implant here. A distractor implant is something that is energetically entrenched or established in your universe. It is designed to be triggered. So basically, when I look into distractor implants, it feels like that kind of a trap thing that I sense energetically. So it is something that is energetically entrenched or established in your universe, and it is designed to be triggered by the events of your life and to create distractions that keep you from being all that you can truly be and having the life you would truly like to have. Okay, so I guess the word distraction easily we can understand, which is okay, this is the path that which I'm traveling in, and then there is a distraction. It takes me out from the path in which I'm traveling, right? So I know that if I go in this path, I can progress in my life, and I am going in that direction. But then suddenly something I see here, and then I get distracted, and I am now off the path. Now I'm not progressing because I'm not in the path. Something else distracted me. I'm off the path. Okay, so that is how I understand the distractor implants. And then here, I guess it matches what is being said here, which is it is designed to be triggered by the events of your life. Some event happens. Okay, my husband speaks to me. That's an event. And then he says, oh, you did this and this and this. I just hate you. And I'm like, ah, okay. Now what do I do? Okay, that's an event in my life. And to create distractions that keep you from being all that you truly can be and having the life that you truly would like to have. So, this is the life that I would like to have, the happy, joyful, fun, exciting life. And then a distraction came in there, which is like my husband says, oh, you did this and this and this, you are bad, whatever. Oh, that's not the life that I wanted. Now I'm being distracted in some other direction. Okay, so that's my understanding. They are the reason we believe we have no choice in anything. Oh, so now there's a new word here which is called choice. Looks like when I am stuck with a distractor implant, it feels like I have no other choices. Okay, so putting that into my example here, okay, my husband opens up a conversation which ends up in a fight or a conflict, and I'm like stuck here. Now it feels like I have no other choices. I have to fix this problem between me and my husband. Otherwise, it feels like, oh, I have no other choices here. I have to fix this problem kind of a energy there. Okay. Some of the distractor implants are anger, rage, fury, hate, blame, shame, regret, guilt, fear, doubt. Interesting. So these are some of the distractor implants. And as I said, this particular book has about 24 different distractor implants. Hello, Biju. Welcome to the show. But yes, so we are talking about distractor implants, and I have only listed like few of the distractor implants from the book. The book actually consists of 24 different ones. Okay, what are we learning there? Anger, rage, fury, hate, blame, shame, guilt, regret, all of those are distractor implants. Okay, and most of that is something that I call as kind of negative emotions or something that which I say, oh, I got triggered. Okay, so all of those are distractor implants. Let's see what's coming up next. Anger, rage, hate, fury. So that in and itself is an entire chapter in the book. So let's say what Gary wants to tell us. Gary says, hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about distractor implants, rage, anger, fury, and hate. I have invited all of you to send me your questions, and several have written in asking how come I do anger? Okay, so this entire book actually was a call, was a class that Gary and Dane offered, and then there were a lot of class participants. And looks like Gary asked a question to all the class participants. Okay, what kind of questions do you have? And then most of them said, how do I do anger all the time? Why am I being angry all the time? Whatever that is. Okay. And Gary says 99% of people in the world do anger as a way of getting control. We have misidentified and misapplied anger as a source of force in the world. We think of it as something that creates potency. Mhm. And interesting word, control. 99% of the people in the world do anger as a way of getting control. Oh, so when I am angry on someone, it looks like what I actually want to do is control them. Mhm. And if somebody else is angry on me, looks like they would like to control me. Okay, good understanding about anger so far. Let's move on. And then comes action and reaction. So, what's the difference there? Class participant says, I have implants in reaction to my husband. Every time he criticizes me, I go to anger. I get angry. Wait, I have to move this. Yes, I get angry and I feel insecure. And it seems like every time I get angry, I get heavy metal poisoning. Okay, so this is a little very much to what I was talking about here, which is okay, I have all of these implants in reaction to my husband, and every time he criticizes me, I'm doing anger. I get angry and I feel very insecure when this happens. Gary says, first of all, if your husband is telling you that you are a pathetic pile of shit, is that a true or false? Is that truth or a lie? When somebody is criticizing you, first question here is it true? What they are saying is true, or is it a lie? Okay. And the class participant says, okay, it's a lie, right? Yes, my husband is criticizing me, but whatever he's saying is actually lie. It's not true. And Gary says, when somebody tells you something that is not true about you, you will tend to get angry. But instead of reacting with anger, you need to ask some questions. Mhm. Reacting. Did you notice the word reacting there? When somebody tells you that is not true about you, yes, you will tend to get angry. But instead of going into a reaction with anger, you need to instead stop yourself and ask some questions to yourself. What did he actually mean by that? What part of that is loving and caring for me? What part of that is just to be mean to me? Okay, I'm going to put in that same example. Now let's go back to our unsatisfied clients example. Most likely they come in saying, oh, you did this, this, and this. It's blaming, it's criticizing me, most likely. So it says, oh, you said this and this and this, but then this is what happened. I'm not happy with your session. Fix this problem for me, kind of. So that, first of all, is kind of criticizing me, most likely. And rather than me going into anger, which means I'm reacting to it, instead of that, Gary says, ask some questions. First of all, ask whatever that person is saying to yourself, not to that person. Ask those questions to yourself. Whatever that person is saying, is it truth or a lie? Okay, once you have that answer, a few other questions you can ask. What does she actually mean by that to me? Is she, what part of what she said is loving and caring towards me? What part of what she said is actually just to be mean to me? And what else is her intention with what it is that she's telling? Few more questions. Each situation is going to be different, but you need to kind of, rather than stepping into anger, which is the normal pattern, we need to kind of step back and ask few questions around it. This is the place of not going into anger as a reaction. Asking a question is going to the place of potency and power. The ultimate potency and power is question, choice, contribution, and possibility. Okay, so what is action? What is reaction? When somebody comes in and tells me, Vishnu, you're wrong, Vishnu, you're bad, you said this, I did not get this thing from you, I should be like, oh, what is this? What does she mean by that? Is it a true or is it lie? Is she trying to be mean to me? What other intentions does she have with those questions? instead of immediately jumping into anger and replying or talking to her, no, 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 this is not going to, and then getting into the anger mode, I need to kind of step back, gain more awareness by asking few questions. That is the difference between when I stop myself, take a step back and ask questions, I am acting, action mode. When I step into anger and immediately start a conflict with her or with him, it means that I am reacting. So, do you see the difference between action versus reaction? Okay, let's move on. And Dane here says, Dane is another co-founder of Access Consciousness, who's also person who wrote the book. If you do what Gary is suggesting, you will be in action and not in reaction. This will be true even if what your husband says to you is designed to get you to react. Anytime somebody criticizes you, it is beautifully designed to put you into the reaction mode. So you won't be reacting. Instead, you will be acting. You will be taking action instead of going into the normal reaction mode. When you have the dynamic, you are describing with somebody, this is specifically with our family members, we know how often we go into the blame, shame, guilt, regret, anger, hate, rage, fury mode very often, especially when it comes to our family members. So when you have that kind of dynamic, that which we are explaining here when it comes to, let's say, wife and husband, they do things to push your buttons. They are trying to get you to react. And you do react, and the situation goes on the same way for years and years and years and years. This absolutely, the book is talking about my life, by the way. And this has been the pattern that has been going. And even today, I was like, while I was talking to my family members, I was like, that's blame. That's putting myself into the shame, blame and shame game. Or, oh, yeah, that's anger, right? So, this is the pattern that goes over and over again in our lives. And Gary says, and it proves that they are right. So, there is another important elephant in the room, which is the right and the wrong. Anytime I'm getting into, when somebody is criticizing me, I get into the anger mode, first of all, because I want to prove myself right and I want to prove that the other person is wrong. The right and the wrong. And we do everything in the best way possible to prove that I am right and you are wrong. And then the conflict goes on for years and years. So, and it proves that they are right. When you change that, when you come out of reaction and go into action, the other person doesn't get to use that to prove that they are right anymore. Right? When I go into the reaction mode, now the fight is between I am right and you are wrong. She or he says, no, you are wrong and I am right. Every word, everything that we speak will come back into I'm right and you are wrong, I'm right and you are wrong. Okay, so they may do even more to get you to react when you go there into the space of anger. They get angry and you get angry and they get angry, right? The same pattern continues. So they may do even more to get you to react. But when you stop reacting, you are no longer at the effect of that situation. I guess at this point in time, let's see. Okay, so I'll finish up this and then give you a beautiful analogy here. Okay, the call participant says, sometimes it's very hard in the moment. Yes, when that anger is there at that point, at that moment, it is kind of very hard for us to step into the action mode rather than going into the reaction mode. Since I have a lot of heavy metal reactions going on, my reaction is caused by the toxicity. The toxicity is, so Gary says, the toxicity is a result of the distractor implants because the distractor implants themselves are designed to hurt your body and make it reactive. What have you noticed happening in your body when you are in anger mode? Most likely your blood is hot and it feels like your body actually hurts. It's painful for the body when we get into the anger mode, anger, hate, rage, fury, whatever that is. So the toxicity then we are talking about, the toxicity in the body is a result of the distractor implants, because the distractor implants called anger, rage, hate, fury, guilt, blame, shame, regret, and all of the other ones, fear, doubt, all of this actually kind of is little hurting to the body when you are truly present with your body, when you have these emotions. So, because the distractor implants themselves, they are designed to hurt your body and to make your body reactive. The body becomes more reactive to the heavy metal programming every time you go into the programming of the distractor implant. So the distractor implant, more or less, is like a programming, right? Even to a little child, I have seen even a little child from the age of 2 or 3, I have seen that even that little kid is going into anger mode. Looks like the kid is so fast absorbing that distractor implants very soon, or maybe we even come into the world with that. Okay, whatever that is. The body becomes more reactive to the heavy metal programming every time you go into the programming of the distractor implant. That's the reason whenever you go into anger. So here comes the solution for those of you who are interested. When you go into anger, you need to run the clearing statement, all the anger, all the distractor implants, creating this, I destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, for all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. Can we do that now? All the anger, rage, hate, fury, blame, shame, guilt, regret, fear, doubt, and all other distractor implants that you have in place, can you please now destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, proper, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. Wow, it was such a heavy cloud standing in front. And please note the word here, what Gary says is, whenever you go into anger, you need to run this clearing statement. Okay. And Dane says, be aware of what Gary just said. You have to do the clearing every time anger comes up. A lot of people think that I have popped and podded anger once, so it's probably gone. No, you have to do the clearing every time the anger comes up, because there are layers and triggers and all kinds of things that activate it in your world. It's like a distractor implant which has a button. Every time it gets activated, you need to turn it off by clicking the switch. All the anger, all the distractor implants creating this, I destroy and uncreate it all, is your turn off button. Okay, so every time, and I have been recently also using this not just for anger, but anytime, especially the blame, shame, guilt, regret. And that's what our conversation for today is, which is talking about the unsatisfied clients. So the first step here is, when unsatisfied clients come and sit in front of you, instead of getting into the reaction mode, into the anger mode, if you see yourself going into the anger mode and want to prove yourself right, you immediately say, there comes the distractor implant. I got you. All the anger, all the distractor implants, I destroy and uncreate at all times. So that's brilliant. Right, wrong, good, bad, fuck, for all 9 shots, boys and beyonds. Okay. Every time you poke and pod a distractor implant, you are getting one piece of what activates it. You are removing piece by piece out of it. Already. So now, the blame game. Okay, the blame, shame, guilt, regret. This weekend, okay, so before I go on to that slide, I want to give you this beautiful analogy, which I always kind of see that it's helpful for me. So I am a badminton player, and I go back into, I hope all of you know badminton. There's a beautiful net, and then there needs to be a minimum of 2 players to play. And then there is a racket, and then there is a shuttle, right? So when the other player comes and stands on the court and raises his racket and say, hey, come, let's play. If I go stand in the court and then I take the racket and then I say, yes, I'm ready to play with you, that's when the game is on. If I don't even take my racket, if I say, no, I'm not ready to play with you, the game is not on. Therefore, and take that analogy into this blame shame thing. So somebody comes into my world and says, Vishnu, you are wrong, you are bad, you did this and this to me. So they are inviting me to play a game here with blame, shame, guilt, regret, and anger. So if I go into the reaction mode, it means I'm taking my racket and I'm saying, yes, yes, come, let's play this blame game. Instead, I don't take my racket, I look at them and I say, I am not ready to play this game with you. So that's what is this beautiful analogy. I just love, and I kind of put that into my world. So anytime my husband says any criticizing, any accusing, anything, closer to the blame, shame, guilt, regret thing, I'm like nowadays, I'm not ready to play that game with you. I'll not say that in words, obviously, but just being the energy of it. Okay, so I'll use that analogy as I move along. The blame game, blame, shame, guilt, regret. This weekend, so another call participant says, this weekend I rented a venue for a class and it got damaged by some of the kids who were there. So imagine this person, whoever he or she is, rented a place for conducting a class, but looks like some kids came in and kind of did some damaging to the property. And this was a rented space. The organization that owned the venue said it didn't want to rent it to me again. I went into the old default position of having a tightness in my belly, feeling guilty and uncomfortable, and wanting to figure out how to fix it. So, whenever this comes in our world, this, as you can see, it was such a minute way. It's not somebody kind of sitting in front of you and criticizing you. Instead, it was like, hey, you rented my property and you damaged it. I'm not going to do this, give this property to you anymore. Immediately, what comes up is guilt, and you feel uncomfortable. You regret, you guilt, you go into the guilt mode. Okay, once again, you are getting ready to play the game. So, what do you do here? Instead of going into how do I fix it mode, you step back. I recognized what I was doing and then I cleared the distractor implants around that. I recognized that when I was willing not to indulge in guilt, I could manipulate the situation. It didn't necessarily sound any different. It was still, oh, I'm sorry. What can I do to make up for the damage I have done? And all that stuff, but there was a play and lightness to it. So we are moving a little advanced here to the next step. So it is like, okay, so this person said this, now what do I actually do in the physical world? So here is an example. Instead of going into the guilt and regret inside, he is just with words, he is like, oh, I'm really sorry about that. What can I do to actually fix this up? But then, as he says, it's said in a very playful and light manner, not from the guilt and regret point of emotion. I didn't go into the wrongness of me. So anytime we are going into the guilt and regret, it means that we feel what we did is something wrong. And then that wrongness creates that guilt and regret even more. So I didn't go into the wrongness of me. It was such a different experience, and my body didn't contract like it did in the past. So then, first, did you see he said that I cleared the distractor implants around that? How do you do that? All the blame, shame, guilt, regret here, and all other distractor implants, I destroy and uncreate. Everything that created this, I destroy and uncreate it. Remember the clearing statement from the past slide. Okay, so then the call participant asks, how do you use the blame, shame, regret, and guilt assigned to you to your advantage? As I said, this is the next step. I will summarize all of that for you in the last slide. But for now, the call participant is asking, okay, now I am recognizing that when somebody is kind of accusing me or saying that I made a mistake, This is a blame, shame, guilt, regret game. But how can I use this situation to my advantage? Okay, so let's say what Gary says. You would say, I'm sorry, I had no idea that this was going to happen. What can I do to make up for the damage done? Please tell me. I'm a terrible person and I will do anything I can to make it up for you. That's what you say with your words. Emotionally, you are not going into the guilt and regret, but you are manipulating the situation consciously to take the situation to your advantage here. Let's see what happens. That's an example of using the situation to your advantage, because most people would go into blame, shame, guilt, regret. When you do that, when I say, oh, I'm sorry, looks like this really affected you. How can I help you? How can I fix this for you? When I say those things, I am, so the ball now comes in my court and then I make use of it. So then I know that the other person also comes from the same blame, shame, guilt, regret game, right? So other person most likely is willing to play that game with me. So now I'm taking the game to a different level. So when you do that, the other person will go into guilt. They will say, oh, looks like she is actually a nice person. That is guilt in them. They are feeling guilty for accusing me because I turned the game around. Instead of me going into the guilt or regret or going into the anger and proving myself right, when I take a step back, oh, I'm terribly sorry. I know I'm a terrible person. How can I help you, please? What would the other person feel like? They would be like, oh, looks like she's actually a nice person. She is wanting to fix this issue here. Oh, that is when they are going into the guilt mode there. And then they will go into the regret. I am being way tough on her. And immediately they would say, yeah, I understand. Maybe we can fix this. Or they will take a step back and they go into the guilt and regret mode rather than me going into the guilt and regret mode. I hope you're getting it. I'll give you one more funny example coming up. They will go from saying, you are a terrible person and we are never going to let you rent this place, and they move into, oh, looks like you are really a nice person and we know that you didn't do this intentionally, so we are going to back off our point of view. So do you see how the situation is turned around to your advantage here? And this, exactly this, I used in my world very recently with some person who kind of came in with this kind of blaming me energy. And then I was like, yes, you are right. Oh, yes, you are right. Yeah, looks like I did this thing wrong for you. I'm really sorry about that. How can I fix it for you? And I literally said, yes, you are right. Right, right, you are right. The more they hear that, the more I be that energy, they take the plate around. And then the kind of final conversation that he said to me was, I'm really grateful for everything that you have done. All the classes that you had, or all the sessions I've offered was really helpful. So thank you so much. But maybe we just have to fix this. I'm like, yeah, yeah, sure. Thank you. So I could sense that immediately that switch came up. You know, when the conversation started, it was like, you did this thing, this is wrong, da, 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 the unsatisfied client example. And then I'm like, oh, right, right, yeah, you are right. I'm really sorry. I know I'm very terrible at this. I'm really sorry. What can I do to fix it? Even though my words are that, I am not feeling guilty for that. I know that it's a lie, but then I'm turning the situation around and I'm like, yeah, 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 you're right. And then finally the conversation end up with he telling, oh, wow, you're great. Thank you so much for all the help you're doing. And thank you for your willingness to hear me and all of that. So that's how you turn the ball around. Okay. So then, how do you deal with unsatisfied clients? Here comes the summary. Step number one, Whenever this happens, and as you can see, the anger, rage, hate, fury, blame, shame, guilt, regret, all of this is like in our everyday lives. Every single day, I get to use these tools in my world. So that's how it's it's the frequency of this is so high. So then every time you see that, that's anger, that's blame, that's guilt, that's shame, that's regret, anytime you see that in your world, you first identify that, acknowledge that, and you are like, that's a distractor implant. So, step one, acknowledging that it is a distractor implant anytime the anger, blame, shame, guilt, regret comes up. First step. Second step is then, now this is going to be a challenging step, which is not going into the reaction mode of anger and then proving you right. You step back, you know that it's a lie, and you know that it's a distractor implant. So you stop the reaction and you take action here by asking questions. Okay, whatever this person is telling, is it true? Is it lie? Okay, it's a lie. Most 99%, any this stuff that comes up, the blame, shame, guilt, regret, 99% is usually a lie. So, okay, it's a lie. Great. And then you can ask more questions. What is his true intention with these words? Is he being loving and caring to me, or is he wanting to be mean? What is she actually expecting? What's happening here? What's the truth behind this? And you ask those questions to yourself, not to the other person, and you get more awareness behind the scenes. And then you run the clearing statement. Step number 3, run the clearing statement, whatever that particular distractor implanters, or you can put all the distractor implants in place, all the anger, blame, shame, guilt, regret, and all the distractor implants, creating this event, creating this situation. I destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, for all, nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. You do it at least 3 to 5 times until you feel you are now relaxed to think better rather than jumping into reaction. You run that clearing statement. By the time you do 3 or 5 times, you are already in the space of more awareness, tapping into your true consciousness here. And then step number 4, that which I also do, which is also mentioned in this particular book, is to destroy and uncreate your relationship with that person. This is a very important thing that I kind of do it every day, especially with my family members. When I see there is so many distractor implants within the family, I destroy and uncreate my relationship with my husband. I destroy, and let's say coming back to the unsatisfied client example here, I run the clearing statement, and then I go into, I destroy and uncreate my relationship with this person, however long the relationship was. Maybe it was just started yesterday, or it was 1 month relationship you had this with this person, or it could be that you know this person for 10 years. Doesn't matter. You just say, okay, I destroy and uncreate my relationship with this person, and you run that, right, wrong, good, bad, pop, for all, nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Step number 5 then is now to use the game to your advantage. You know that the player is ready to play a game with you. First, you put the racket down, and then you do whatever that is that needs to be done. You run the clearing statement, and then now you take up the racket, and then you play a different game here. And the game here is turning around the situation. Use the blame, shame, guilt, regret to your advantage by saying, yes, you are right. Yeah, you are right. Yes, you are right. And I'm wrong. What can I do for you? What can I do to make this up for you? This is a beautiful way that you can handle not just clients, but every single person in your world who ever wants to play this game with you. Okay, one additional note here before I complete. So yes, I'll give you a good example. So it was few months back, at least 6 to 8 months back, one of the client who actually took a 12-week program with me. By the time the class was about 10 weeks, this person came up with a lot of blaming, shaming, complaining frequency. And then it was like, oh, I expected this, and this, and then you didn't deliver any of that. You didn't da 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 da. Okay. And then I opened up a call, I said, okay, let's talk about this. Can you come on to the call? And then I did kind of a video Zoom call with the person. And then she went on for 20 minutes. She was like blaming, shaming, complaining. And I'm like, oh, right. Yeah, I get it. Yes. This is all I did for 20 minutes. And then finally I asked, yeah, looks like you are right. How can I fix this for you? What can I do to make this up for you? And even before the call, I have already kind of made, kind of planned that, okay, this person has paid for a 12-week thing. The payment is already done. Maybe I can offer a refund for the last 2 weeks. Most likely, when this refund is done, the money, giving money back is going to kind of help this person. And I can ask her to kind of quit the program here. Quitting the program is the best solution for this person. So I was like, by the end of the call, I was like, yeah, I see that this is not working for you. Maybe you can go to another facilitator who actually teaches you that and that. Maybe that's going to help you. And she's like, yeah. Or, and then, okay, how can I make this up for you? Maybe can I give you a refund and maybe you can kind of complete the class here? She was like, oh, yeah, yes. And I did the refund and the person went away and I was like, happy, thank you, bye-bye. I destroy and uncreate my relationship with this person. Okay, that is one other way that which I personally have done in my life. I know when you ask that question, what can I actually make it up for you? The easiest and the happiest, joyful way that I have actually seen to fix it is just giving the money back and then wishing them good luck, blessings, and sending them with lots of love. Alrighty, so I hope all of you have learned, and this is the beautiful Living Beyond Distraction happening tomorrow. What you saw today was just 2 pages of the book. This book, my goodness, has so many beautiful tools that I personally use every single day in my life. So, for those of you for whom this was a massive value to you, I invite you to come on, join me tomorrow for this particular class if you choose to. And there are so many beautiful tools throughout this. This is going to be a 3-hour class. And those of you who are interested can let me know. Okay, so please do leave your comments below on how was this for you. What did you learn? And hi, Viju.
Thank you, Vishnu. It was so enriching.
Yes,
We'll
and
meet
Viju.
tomorrow. We'll meet
Yes,
tomorrow.
yes. So tomorrow Viju is in the class already. So he just joined me here on Zoom. So thank you so much, Viju, for joining me already, my dear beautiful beings. I'm going to see you tomorrow then. Bye bye. Have a beautiful day.